Alright, hello and welcome to the Unknown Film Enthusiasts. Today we're going to do things a little bit differently. At this point we're going to be talking about the film Foreigner, starring Jackie Chan, and whether or not it was a good film that you should go out and see or one that you should skip. I personally have not seen this film, so I will be the independent moderator at this point. And we have, and my name is Zach, and today we have Dan and Nick, who are going to be presenting their opinions on the film for the pros and cons. So Dan will be presenting the pros, and Nick will be presenting the cons of the film.
So real quick, this was a movie that I kind of just saw was out playing one weekend. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and see this solo by myself in a theater. Had nothing to do. No one was around, so I was like, all right, I'll go see this Jackie Chan movie. And I thought it was going to be a good movie to kind of maybe bring myself back into what he has.
Personally, I went into the movie because the director, Martin Campbell, directed my second favorite James Bond movie, and probably the best Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie, and I was like, oh, he's going back with Pierce Brosnan. This is going to be like an interesting, like, little bit ahead of the time thriller. And I'm just interested to see how Jackie Chan fits into it, because I've heard a lot of build-up about it, and I was like, oh yeah, like, Jackie Chan's going to be a big part of this, going to have a big impact on it, and it was marketed as his version of Taken, which I think was an interesting marketing thing, and we'll get into how that actually boils down by the end of it.
If we are going to begin talking about this film, and if we know it is based upon a idea of Jackie Chan's interpretation of a Taken film, if you guys could, in basically two minutes or less, what is this film?
This film is a very dark, kind of odd at times.
It was marketed as like this epic revenge story where Jackie Chan gets the people responsible for his daughter dying.
Yes.
But the main plot of the movie is political espionage and like the resurgence of the IRA in the British and Irish politics, which was not something I went into this movie and I was like, oh, they're going to be investigating Jackie Chan. Maybe he's thought to be involved in the murder. I didn't read much into this other than the fact that I knew Jackie Chan was in it and that Martin Campbell directed it. And it was really odd to me when I was sitting there. I was like, oh, the new IRA, like, where is this going? And I feel like those parts of the plot are the most interesting parts. The issue is
the separation between the government and what's going on with that, and Jackie Chan and the people who killed his daughter.
It's pretty jarring.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I agree. Yeah.
So
it's weird.
So on two levels, from what I just kind of understood from this film, it's on one hand a revenge film for Jackie Chan in relationship to his daughter, and on another level, it is.
That is the movie. But by the time you're in the middle of it, you don't give really much of a damn about that
because of a governmental versus rebellion. I don't know the best way to say it. Terrorist group.
If you want to just go over like the pros of the movies real quickly and like everything you liked, and then
real quick, pros of the movies. Jackie Chan movie, yes. And this is a huge surprise to me. Kind of going into it makes you think that he's gonna play this very serious, like kind of old man father type figure, and then, bam! First scene, daughter dies. Hashtag spoiler alert. Daughter dies. You find out later in the film that he's this kick-ass ex-military ninja who is running through the forest, blowing shit up. He's a bomb maker. He does all this cool stuff, which was interesting. But at the same, so that's one of the pros. We could cut this statement short. I'm a little tipsy.
Jackie Chan is cool.
Yeah,
got it.
But at the same time, they focus so much on like, look at how cool Jackie Chan is, that I feel like there's a really good story being told, and every time you're getting really into it, they intercut with, look at Jackie Chan. He made punji sticks in the woods. So it never fully feels like here's Jackie Chan's revenge story. It feels like here is all of this political intrigue unfolding. Yeah. By the way, Jackie Chan's in the back and he beat up some of your guards. And even to the point where the climax of the movie is Jackie Chan interrupting what the police were going to do, leaving alive the one person for the police to talk to. The police get the information from them, and it's solved. Jackie Chan
kills all the people and dips.
Yeah.
That's it. And they don't even know. They don't even get him.
If Jackie Chan was not in this movie, there would be no different. It would be the same movie.
And that's how I look at this film, is that this is a film where it's literally, okay, you're going to love this, okay? It's the Bourne Supremacy. No, I'm sorry. It's the Bourne Identity, but it's not Matt Damon, and you care more about Blackbriar than you do Jason Bourne. Because in those movies, there's a lot of this like espionage going on with Blackbriar and the government, and they're hunting down this man, kind of, and you care about that because there's conflict between those two, but Jackie Chan jumps right around all this stuff that's going on. He doesn't give a shit about the IRA or what the government has to say or the news, and he would rather decide to tackle the problem himself, and that's his own problem of him dealing with his daughter's death, as getting revenge with those who did it.
But at the same time, I feel like he's supposed to almost be this sympathetic character, but in the first 2 minutes it goes from, I want these answers so I can get my own closure, to I'm willing to do terrorist attacks myself to make sure that these things are resolved, to the point where he plants a bomb in a government office. He shows up to government property, starts cutting people's Achilles tendons, is blowing up cars with state officials in them. It's such a tonal shift between Jackie Chan, who's basically in an outdoor version of Home Alone, and everyone else.
You just said something that made me lose it. Because that's what he does in this film. He goes around.
You're supposed to be arguing for the pros of this film, man.
But that's the thing, though. I enjoyed it. I liked this because,
I feel like it's hard for us to fight, though.
It is. Because I can't go into a Jackie Chan movie where it's like, I'm super serious. Not saying that you did, but I'm saying, like, I went into this movie not knowing at all what I was getting into. I had not seen a single trailer. I saw Jackie Chan in a movie, and I was like, I'm going to see this.
Around the World in 80 Days. Yeah. Well, that's
at least you know what you're getting into with Around the World in 80 Days.
Like, I think I saw 1 or 2 trailers just because they happened to play before something else. Like, it wasn't a movie I was actively seeking out or anything.
Yeah.
But it was just, every single trailer, it was like Jackie Chan's return to U.S. cinema.
Yes.
Like, and I had seen an interview where he was like, oh, I'm really, like, my goal is to get an Oscar before I retire. And when I think about Jackie Chan's role in this movie, was a lot of, I'm going to frown and look directly at the camera, and every time there's an action scene, it isn't the typical Jackie Chan action scene where you see him, this is the action, I'm doing all the action, uncut scenes. It reminds me more of Taken, where they had to keep cutting scenes because Liam Neeson would get winded. And granted, Jackie Chan's in his 60s and still did a great job. He's the only man who could kick the ass of every British agent while wearing sneakers, or wearing Skechers. But it's one of those things where I really want to be impressed because I know the amount of effort that he put into it. But at the same time, when I walked out of the movie, I was like, they're almost like, they're rewarding him for, like, this good job. They're like, we'll give him the pass this time because, like, he got his own and we know he's not going to do anymore. But he didn't help. And at the same time, every bit of new information that was added when you figured out, like, what the deeper IRA plot was, who supplied the explosives, who funded all of this, never was it Jackie Chan came to these conclusions and he was leaking it out. It was always, well, yeah, I did it. The British government figured this out. The British government's gonna blackmail me for this reason. And Jackie Chan just happened to be present while these things were happening. It's almost, it's like those Weird Al Yankovic interviews where he's just responding to stuff that someone's saying to another interviewer.
I think I understand what you're saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but at least what I saw in this particular situation was there was a very huge separation between serious Jackie Chan in depression mode in this movie, where, like, he's very sad about his daughter, and crazy action-packed kick-ass Jackie Chan when he's kicking ass in the scene.
Yeah.
There was no connection at all between those two.
I feel like the points where it should have been somewhat of a middle ground of his emotions, we get Pierce Brosnan, which I find him as much more of an interesting character because he was trying to bring them back to their glory, except he wanted to have explosions and like terrorist attacks that showed that they still had power without killing innocents.
Yes.
And that's what the other people were doing. Also, side note, Pierce Brosnan is Irish. Some points during the movie, it sounded like he was someone struggling to do an Irish accent. And I was like, how on earth?
Talk about Western culture, like,
Yeah,
kind of expanding like
It's
that.
just so odd. Because it's just,
yeah.
I guess maybe, I don't know, he's done a lot of movies where he hasn't done the accent. Like, he was James Bond, he did a British accent. But it was so weird where I was like, you were born there. Why does this sound wrong?
Yeah.
But, I don't
Maybe
know.
he was trying too hard to force it out. I really couldn't tell you because
but-
I have to go back and see those acts when he's the one acting, like you said, as a British agent or whatever. But I don't think it was too noticeable for me. Main reason I really didn't know who he was. But as a kick-ass IRA character, I agree with you that like he was probably more of like a he had more backing up his decisions in this movie than Jackie Chan did. Where it was
and he
like,
had a really convincing arc.
yeah,
Whereas Jackie Chan was, I'm angry and I'm sad. And by the end of the movie, I'm angry and I'm sad.
yeah. Let me ask you this: what did you think of like the moment when like he holds up the picture, he goes, "Press send," and I lost it.
In my mind, I was like, what is going on in this
Yeah.
movie? Because it's one of those things where everything's been taken relatively seriously, and then in the end, I'm like, is this a joke? Like,
Yeah. So
the information's out there.
Real
like,
quick then, let's just hit on that specific plot point from that character, that the IRA leader that Pierce Brosnan played. He had a wife and I believe a kid, some children that we did not see, and a nephew.
Yeah.
And he was having an affair with an IRA.
It was part of the new IRA, except he didn't know that she was.
He didn't know that she was.
Yeah.
Regardless, it was an affair.
Yeah.
And Jackie Chan took a picture of them having a dinner.
But the weird thing is, he took the picture and was like, I have this information. But also the other IRA leader was like, I have these pictures, plus I'm going to send them to the British government if anything happens. So it falls back into the thing where every single thing Jackie Chan does doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because every other person is a step ahead of them.
Here's what I think then. I think if we wanted to see more payoff for Jackie Chan's actions, we would have had to see a bigger family dynamic painted between him and his daughter to begin with, which we saw in the flashbacks, but it was not enough because by
That's
that
the thing,
point
yeah.
it was too late.
Like, I feel like they should have done... It would have been a little bit corny, but just, like, have, like, the dad be like, oh, like, I'm concerned, like, I want to make sure, like, you're doing well in school and you're focusing on this. But basically, he was like, I picked you up from school. Who's that boy? And she's like, don't worry about him, Dad. And then 2 minutes later, she's exploded. And it's like, all right.
See, and I thought that was the nephew when that happened, but it looked like the nephew, but there was nothing that ever happened again with that. It wasn't. And
It was one of those things where I was like, what is the point? What is, like, the part of this movie that I missed? And then every time I thought about it, I was
lost, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I can say I felt a little bit.
But the thing is, when the movie ended and I thought about everything, I was like, I don't know if I missed anything. I just think there are points that they just did not feel like explaining. Because it wasn't, like, something like, I don't know, like, when I think back to, like, Shaun of the Dead or, like, Inception or something, there's so many plot points that are interwoven where you can look at it as a straight narrative story, and then you can also connect everything back together, and you're like, oh my god, there's so much more impact to it. Yeah. And the more I think about The Foreigner, I'm just like, what the fuck was that about? Like, specifically, the plot between his wife and his nephew. And it was like, okay, they're having an affair. I guess that's why the information slipped. But the other guy also had surveillance on him 24/7. So he got it it's one of those things where it was like, oh my god, look at this turn of events, and it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, we've already established that there's some other reason.
None of this matters because the crazy Chinaman's gonna fucking blow everything up.
Also, the book is called The Chinaman. I'm convinced they went through the whole filming of this movie never knowing that it would be called The Foreigner, because the phrase, we have to get the Chinaman, or we need to find the Chinaman,
was used how many times? Go ahead. It was like 10 times.
Yeah, it's
10,
so many times.
They use it so many times.
And to quote Walter from The Big Lebowski, Chinaman is not the proper nomenclature.
Oriental.
Yeah.
Still bad.
Central Kingdom.
I see. I did not know that was I did not know that was the non-proper nomenclature.
Yeah.
I don't know that word. I'm sorry, but I did not mean anything.
It's
saying
it's
Chinaman.
completely fine. It's fine because in the movie they say it. It's just
That's
one of those
what I'm
things
saying.
where you should not walk into a room and be like,
Whoa, hold on a minute.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
I didn't know that.
So
I feel
it's just it was an odd movie
Yes,
where in
absolutely.
the end I was like, I really liked the plot. Like, I thought it was interesting how everything fell together, but at the same time, I feel like the actual storytelling of the plot did such a mismatched job that I don't think it amounted to anything.
I think if they really wanted to, this literally could have been another the Bourne movies. Like, I think it could have been so good if it was that. I would have loved it because it's Jackie Chan. Matt Damon. No offense to you, you are fantastic. I love the Bourne series. Definitely one of my top favorite childhood movies. Sitting down, seeing paramilitary, ex-military people fight, it's awesome. But this movie definitely could have been that. But it's already done. It ended. Like there's no going back to what this movie is, because it was literally just a revenge story, and he got his revenge and he left, and that was.
But it's just so weird to think about, because like you think like a movie like John Wick, where he goes out, he thinks he's out of this life, something comes back into his life, and then he goes out and he needs to avenge it. By the end of the movie, you're like, the catharsis has been reached. And at the end of this movie, I was like, he just kind of killed a couple Irishmen, and at the same time, the IRA still exists.
And you don't even see the payoff on him either when he does it. He literally kills them, walks out, goes back to the
starts cooking fucking soup.
Starts
like,
cooking soup.
Yeah.
There's no reaction.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of that. This very well could be where he's trying to get the Oscar in, or where the acting might be better than what I thought I saw the first time, because he is so sad and he has been beaten down throughout all these events in his life, losing, I believe it was maybe 2 other daughters prior to this daughter, they were like Somali pirates in the flashback.
Yeah.
This is a man who has just seen so much where he has given up, and we see that in his face, I think, at the very end, which
But
I
the thing is,
respect. I think he did a good job.
Yeah, he did a good job with that. The issue is, you can see it in his face, but you see it in his face for 12 seconds at the end of the movie, and it's almost like there are so many interesting plot points that they introduce, but they never do anything with, where you're like, all right, come on, like, you've done this, clearly we should care more about it, but at the same time we don't.
What is it, the IRA girl having or sleeping with the one guy to get the bomb playing in the laptop, like, that was awesome, but like, he never even knew, we did not see what he had to figure out. They were like, oh, we're going to take your laptop, we're going to fucking throw it down the plane shaft.
Yeah.
There's no conversation with him after that.
There's no,
at all.
You get no closure with him. And also at the same
As the
time, is
journalist?
that how they deal with a bomb in an airport? They're
In
like,
an airport?
there's a fucking bomb! And then they start running and throw it out a window, basically.
No, they
like,
they threw it down
the boarding tunnel.
The boarding tunnel, yeah.
But it was just like,
the tarmac,
throw it in the
whatever.
fucking bathroom. Like, less collateral damage. Now they can't board that plane. Some fucker's trying to fly to Wales, and now he can't. But
I gotta admit, dealing with that in real life, like, those cops, they're like, what are we gonna do with this? The guy's running with the laptop. Imagine how fearful that guy was. I don't know the actor. This is such a brief moment. He wasn't a character in it, but He literally was running with a laptop. He knew it was a bomb, and he just chucked it down the tarmac or down the boarding.
The weird thing is, though, in that exact airport scene, I thought of another Martin Campbell movie, Casino Royale, where he stops the blowing up of the new 747s, and you just see how every single piece from, like, this is also a minuscule plot point that is resolved 25 minutes into the movie of Casino Royale. They stop the plane from getting blown up, and you see how everything pieces together from beginning to end, and you're like, "That what a satisfying conclusion to that," and then it builds on to the rest of the plot. And then I look at this movie, and I'm like, I saw what you can do. You just had a bunch of cops run up, steal this dude's laptop, and throw it down the hallway. Like, it's not...
No, you're right.
I've seen
You're right.
I've seen him do it right, and I've seen him do it this way.
And going back to what you said about plot points not being closed, again, like Jackie Chan walks into like one of the lieutenant's one of the head policeman's office and is like, "Here's 20 grand. Tell me who killed my daughter."
Yeah.
Cop says, "Hey, I don't know, but we're doing everything that we can to make it right. Like, please believe me on that." Again, there's nothing with that ever again in the film.
Yeah. I think at the very end of the movie, the cop goes, "We'll let him off this time. I think we owe it to him." And in my mind, I'm like, he fucked up your whole investigation. Like, you had a plan. He showed up, killed everyone, basically. You still got your answers, barely, because there's a woman with 2 broken kneecaps lying there. And it's just like, all right. You did it. Yay. Like, it's...
Exactly.
There's no reason for them to feel any sort of indebtment to him.
So, yeah.
Like, it's not... I don't know. There are other movies where, like, I think of, like, The Fugitive. Where, like, Harrison Ford, the whole time he's on the run, trying to prove that he didn't murder his wife, and how there's, like, all of this other stuff built up towards it. And there's a really good FBI lead, played by Tommy Lee Jones. And basically, like, Tommy Lee Jones's character is not, "I want to catch you because I know you did it." He's like, "I just want to get to the bottom of this." And when Harrison Ford is like, "I didn't kill my wife," Tommy Lee Jones, instead of saying, "I'm going to take you in," he goes, "I don't care." And it's the perfect response to it. And throughout this movie, I'm just waiting for that moment, and it never happens.
Yeah.
And the whole time I kept thinking, somehow they're going to try to frame Jackie Chan. They're going to do this. He's somehow going to be integral to the plot. And he never does.
It does not happen.
And it feels like such a waste of potential, because he does such a good job in the action scenes, but it just never amounts to anything more.
Yeah, so I would say if you're gonna see this movie, then if you're going into this movie and you want to see Jackie Chan kick some serious ass, go and watch this film. You will enjoy it. You might be distracted and have a lot of questions after regarding the other plot points.
The issue is there's a movie that happens around those.
There's another movie happening within this movie that is not concluded.
Yeah, and it's just so odd. And I don't know. I'm not generally like someone who just falls in on like, well, the reviews said this, so I have to agree with them.
Yeah.
I believe the last 2 or 3 weeks that the movie's been out, it keeps fluctuating between a 57 through a 60 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I've never agreed more, where it's just completely middle of the road. If I didn't have Movie Pass, which allows me to see a movie every 24 hours, I would not have seen in the movie. I probably would have rented it, like, later on.
And just like for you saying that, as for myself, had I had something else to do that night and people were around, but I have no friends, so that's okay. I'm just kidding, Zach, you're my friend. But like, if I had something else going on that night, I would not have seen this film.
Well, in the end, I think we can all agree that there's some good and some bad, and hopefully we brought this to a central conclusion of what we can get out of this movie. And yeah, I think we say this is exactly average. It's don't go in with too high expectations, but it's not a bad movie by any extent.
Again, like I said before, if you want to see a film where there's a lot of action, a lot of things blowing up, a lot of cool jumping out of corners and sneak attacking people, you're going to like it. Aside from that, you're going to have some questions. And I think that's really all I got to say about it.
I wish I had seen this movie. My main reason for going was in the same way that I know what a Jackie Chan movie is, I just want to see some cool action. As a moviegoer, would I enjoy this movie then?
I feel like they're
It's a
so
tough question.
sparsely put into the movie. Because, like, even though it's described as, like, a revenge movie, there are points where it goes, like, upwards of 20 minutes where you don't even see Jackie Chan. So it seems like Martin Campbell really wanted to make this
you don't know
IRA
because
movie.
he's scheming for the next
Yeah.
bomb. He's gonna.
That's the
fucking
thing. Like
blend and
at the
blow
same time,
shit
I'm
up.
like, maybe he's not going to show back up, and then they show him back up. It's like, oh, I've been working on this pipe bomb for a week. It's like, oh, okay, and it's hard because when you see the action, it's really really well done action.
It is. It really is.
But it's so there's
so many loose ends.
the house escape, the woods,
Yeah. Oh, the woods.
and the gunfight in the room. Are those the only 3 action scenes?
Hold on. Say those again. There's the
roof escape.
the
when he
roof
leaves
escape. Yep, that's it. The woods.
The woods.
And the
Gun shootout.
gun shootout.
At the last, and this is a 2-hour movie.
And those are the 3 main
Those
And
are the
points.
there's-
3 main points.
there's
Of
Other
Jackie
ones-
Chan action.
Yeah,
I guess.
and there's certain points where like you see a car explode and you see him in the woods like
there's
wrapping his
yeah.
fingers like he's
Mhm.
fucking Dick
Plotting.
Dastardly or
Yeah.
something.
There's
But-
there's
you-
also the initial what do you call it? The initial infiltration of the house at night where he takes out those guys. But again, that was not as big as the top 3,
Yeah.
which I think you
And that's
said
also
perfectly.
he almost basically doesn't fight anyone in that scene. He just kind of shows up and like Chino chops someone in the shoulder and they're out.
See, now, what's interesting is that you guys mentioned, or I think, Nick, you mentioned earlier at least, that Jackie Chan is going into this knowing that he is older at this point and he would like to win an Oscar. Like, or potentially have the
Yeah.
ability to get nominated at the very best.
Okay.
First of all,
I'm going to jump in and answer.
what
Go
was he
ahead.
aiming for?
Uh-huh.
Is it even in the realm of possibility for a
Okay.
nomination?
Okay. I think it's definitely possible. Do I think it's going to get an Oscar? Maybe not. I'm not to say because I am not one of the.
But what was he aiming to get?
he,
I think he was trying to get that emotional pull
yeah.
based on like tragic events. The issue was it wasn't. You didn't see a full arc with Jackie Chan where he's like, I'm happy, I'm sad, this is why this happened, this is why that happened. It's more like, I'm really sad. I'm less sad.
So you think
The
he was
movie's
going
over.
for a actual like story?
Yeah.
Like not a best film maybe, but like I don't even know like choreography. I'm trying to think of like Oscar categories right now, but they're like leaving
There's
me
no
There's
way
no
in
cate-
hell
he's
he's going to
getting
get
even a nomination
even
for
a
any
nomination.
category.
Yeah. Because I feel like this one also just went under every Academy radar. Because
Yeah,
when you think of
probably.
Jackie Chan, you don't think of A-class acting, and this isn't something like...
I think he
I
has
can't
it in
think of
him.
an
though.
example now.
Honestly,
I think he
though.
has it in
think
him.
After seeing
I think
this
is a stepping stone to
absolutely.
get to the next
Absolutely,
spot.
I can't agree more. I
Yeah.
think in this film, like you get to see him in a new light, where like this was a way more serious role for him as an actor, for his acting career.
Yeah. I've never seen him in a role like this. Personally, I was impressed with him not being wacky or trying to do anything. And, like, all the fights seemed really gritty. And he never broke. Because there are certain points where, like, you see someone who's maybe not as good as serious acting. And they're very clearly, like, they're trying real hard, but it's not working for them, kind of thing.
So
nailed it.
would you say this is the first step on his return to the first step on a return to a successful, like, past middle age film career where he's going to go into a much a higher art, like where he will actually be recognized for a higher form of art
Yeah.
by the Academy? But this is only the first step. is what you're saying.
As a potential return, yes. Again, like this is something where seeing his return into cinema like this, I could not tell you the last film I remember seeing him in. So this is something that has kind of random at this point. Like it
He's looking for recognition, though.
Yeah.
Would
But I feel like at the same time he's aiming for Daniel Day-Lewis, but instead is getting a notch below Hugh Jackman. So like it's like he thinks that if he goes for roles that show emotion, then that means that he's an emotional actor, when in reality he's picking one-dimensional characters that show an emotion that he's never played before. And there's a difference. Acting is about the range of emotions.
So you think he was trying to express range in this film?
That's
And
the
then
issue.
failed.
No. The issue is he has done so many wacky and over-the-top action movies that him doing anything sad is so out of his wheelhouse that in his mind he's like, this is so different. This deserves to get recognition. But when I think about someone who does a really good job, despite all the negative connotations and sexual harassment allegations, Casey Affleck won Best Leading Actor last year. And I think the main reason that works so well is because his character had so much heart, but at the same time was funny, was violent, was awkward.
The range.
The range within the same role. Because there are actors who can play different types of things at different points.
Yes.
And it works, but I feel like the biggest way to get that sort of recognition is to play multiple spots in the same
And
thing.
I think a huge part of it comes from connecting these emotions to the character's actions, and having, again, like we said, a variety.
So, if we're equating this film to something like Taken-esque, why would a person like Jackie Chan want to come back and reaffirm the same somewhat stereotyped role?
So I guess what we're saying, what I can think of at least, is that he's taken massive steps into playing a almost like comedic, kind of quirky type action role, and now he's taking a massive step in the direction of a serious role.
In other movies, he's shown full-on action, but at the same time, he's very whimsical, but he's relatable. But in this one, he's more realistic, but he's unrelatable. So I feel like the best thing he could do is try to find a middle ground between the two. Because when he goes sad, he goes too sad, and when he goes fun, he goes too fun, to the point where there's no sort of in between. He's at 10.
He's dealing in
both
extremes.
different. He's the complete opposite end of the
It's
spectrum.
Rush Hour and Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, that is about that range. It's just interesting to me because knowing maybe the ambitions for this film and hearing about it from you guys, this seems to be a film that, I mean, not necessarily was destined for greatness in any way. And the way you guys are describing it is, it is a return of Jackie Chan, not him in his full force, but a toe in the water. In testing the waters kind of thing once again. He can come back. He's, from my understanding, he's huge still in international, like, not for this film, but very well recognized internationally in the States as well. He is respected as an amazing choreographer and dedicated physical actor. Yeah. But it's not in the sense that if he's coming back with the intention of being recognized officially by the United States, Academy Awards, this is not that film that he might have wanted. It's a toe in the water. Is he going to come back with something greater? Is he going to come back with a completely different film? Or is he kind of sadly stereotyped into one action film role where the only greatness we can see in Jackie Chan is when he's doing only a physical thing, dealing on extremes, can't hit a middle ground.
If this, what would make this movie better, which it is what it is at this point, Jackie Chan would need to come out with more movies where he plays a very similar role and plays it completely serious. So then he has more
Foreigner 2?
leverage. No, not Foreigner 2, but he in a film where he has more leverage on the serious side of things, where he can say, okay, I've played serious roles, I've played, fun, quirky, comedic, action-packed roles, and then he can have just 2 movies where he really focuses. I think he can get the Oscar that he wants.
Well, yeah, because I feel like this is, just to remind you, I'm not dead. Kind of like, this is the role for that. Like, I still exist and I'm still willing to do the work. And then I
Yeah.
feel after this, he can work to build a better breadth of work that can maybe put him in the common idea as a good actor. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. Like, I wish the best for most people,
Yeah.
but just the way that it's turning out with him, he's already in his 60s.
But I
It's
also think that people have a general positive reception to
not
Jackie
in
Chan.
China.
Okay.
I think
Well,
He's kind of shitty, and so is his son. But
interesting.
I don't
I did
know.
not realize
Yeah.
that. That's interesting.
I
to
think
me.
what's to come with Jackie Chan right now is unknown, and I'm very interested to see what comes next for him and roles as an actor.
yeah, I can agree with that. I think this is a good first step, and I'm curious to see what he takes next.
Well, here's to hoping that Jackie Chan is able to take this first step and make it something even greater later on. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great evening.